Now this next video will be short, but it is important. We're going to use something called the product rule to differentiate functions. The product rule is used when we have two different functions that can be treated as completely different but are being multiplied together. It's useful when we might be able to take the derivative of each part but not know what to do with the whole thing. The rule will work like this. If we have two functions being multiplied together, so u is one part multiplied by v, which is another part, if we take the derivative of u, and notice I'm writing this a little bit different than they do it. If I take the derivative of u and I multiply it by v, so no derivative, it's just left alone, and then I add it to the first one being left alone multiplied by the derivative of the second one. Okay, so I just keep saying to myself as I'm doing this, I want the derivative of the first one times the second one. Then I add the first one times the derivative of the second one. Okay, so derivative of the first times the second plus first times the derivative of the second. Okay, we're going to do an example that's really easy. This problem would be easier to solve using the power rule. So we'll do it real quickly by the power rule to see what the answer should be. It would make more sense to do this problem as just multiplying those out, 5x to the ninth, and then our derivative, we would take 9 times 5, which is 45, and then x, we subtract our x by 1. So that's the answer we should be getting, but we're going to use the product rule just to illustrate how this would work with a really easy problem. So the first one, x to the 6th, we'll treat that as our u, and the second one we'll treat as the v, the 5x cubed. And so if I'm going to take my derivative here, I'm going to start with the derivative of the first part, which gives me 6x to the 5th, and I'm going to multiply that by the second part. I will not take the derivative here, just leave it as 5x cubed. Then I'm going to add it, and this time I will not take the derivative of the first one. We'll keep it as it is, and we'll multiply that times the derivative of the second one. We can then simplify this, getting 30x to the 8th plus 15x to the 8th. And notice this one also works out to 45x to the 8th power. Okay, now this one, it wouldn't make sense to really do that. So let's do it with one that would be a little bit more complicated. It might take a while to multiply this one out. Actually, this one wouldn't be very bad either because it's just a couple of binomials. But we could just treat each part individually here. So I'll treat the first part as u and the second part as v. So rather than multiplying this out, the derivative of the first part is 3x squared, and then we'll multiply that times v, keeping v as it is. We're then going to add that. We're going to keep u alone, leave u alone this time, and multiply that by the derivative of the second one, which is just 2x. Now we'll multiply that out. And we'll add it together to simplify. And that's the product rule.